What is up, YouTube? My name is Eben, and today, on The Edge, we are talking about a very good card from the new set Breakthrough, and that is Octillery. And on the surface, he might not necessarily look that good, kind of middling HP, 2 energy retreat, what is becoming an all too common weakness to grass, and an underwhelming attack for 2 water and a colorless that's 40 damage and they can't retreat. I mean, he doesn't look like much from all that, but that's not really important, because he's one of those Pokemon like Shaymin EX, in fact, a lot like Shaymin EX, more than you might think, where his ability is really the selling point. He lets you just once per turn draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. That's it. And that's pretty gosh darn amazing, because that's 1 card short of what Shaymin EX will draw you for coming into play. But Octillery allows you to do it every turn, if you want, and it's not mandatory, so it's not like you're going to deck out or anything. You have complete control over it. Okay, yeah, it might be a bit of a drag to have to get up to a stage 1, but let's face it, that's easy to facilitate these days, and you know it. And that's not really a barrier. And on top of it, this guy, I mean, there are plenty of ways to get him out of dodge if he actually gets Lysandered up, and even if he does, unlike Shaymin EX, he doesn't cost you 2 prizes if he gets knocked out. I mean, so most of this is actually pretty straightforward, so we don't actually have to talk too much about Octillery. First of all, he and Remoraid, which he evolves from, are level ball targets. Easy setup. Like I said, you don't really have to worry about getting this guy put out there. If he had 100 HP, he'd be a little more challenging to drop out. If you're running Dive Ball already, I wouldn't run Dive Ball just for Octillery, but if you're already running a water deck, then obviously Dive Ball is going to be your friend. And there's no reason you can't run this guy with Shaymin EX. Because, I mean, as good as setup is, you and I both know that it's good to do that multiple times in a turn, potentially. So you can actually just set up and use Octillery's Abyssal Hand in the same turn. I mean, you could go through your deck quite handily if you wanted to or needed to. And there are plenty of ways to facilitate that as well. I mean, think about things like Ultra Ball, of course, that you can use to search the other Pokemon in your deck, or go get Octillery, which also discards cards out of your hand to set up his Abyssal Hand. I mean, most of this talk is really just stuff you already knew about Shaymin. And of course, you can play stuff out of your hand, like, let's say, Muscle Band or other items. Other items like, say, even you could go so far as to run Hammers if you really wanted to. Just lots of ways to get things out of your hand so that you can set yourself up to draw the maximum cards with Abyssal Hand. Like I say, I mean, this Pokemon is pretty straightforward, but he just needs to get the attention. He might not necessarily grab your attention early on just because he's not as flashy as an EX per se, and some people might not be talking about him because they might feel like maybe he takes up too much space in the deck. But you could easily run 2 Remoraid, 2 Octillery, and that's more than enough to make sure you've got an Octillery sitting comfortably on your bench setting you up for card draw. And if you really are that worried about him being Lysandered up and then left there, I mean, consider he's got the same retreat as Hoopa EX, and people are running Hoopa EX all the time, and it's not a big deal. And like I say, this guy's only worth 1 prize if they go to knock him out instead of 2. But I mean, it's not like Escape Rope doesn't exist, so they call him up and try to have, hide behind him being in your active slot for a couple of turns to try to stabilize because you're putting on too much offensive pressure or something. I mean, you can always Escape Rope him out. Or, you know what, it wouldn't be the end of the world if you put on a double colorless energy or something and just retreated him. It's not the prettiest thing you ever did, but it'll work, and you can always AZ or Super Scoop up him if you really, really need to. But most games, you're just going to set him up on your bench, probably on your second turn, and just start very comfortably drawing cards. So anyway, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, check me out on Twitter if you haven't already. Link is down below as usual, and I will see you next time.